I gotta say, this is a pretty enjoyable episode, but I mentioned it last week, but I have to reiterate it now. There's something majorly wrong with Red, and I think he might secretly be a psychopath. So throughout this show, at every possible opportunity, he has summoned a giant robot to save the day, his Megazord, right? He could be trapped in a cave, Megazord. He can be in the middle of town square, Megazord. But when in the middle of nowhere, no casualties, no collateral damage. It's sand and rock. Megazord nowhere to be found. But as soon as this man says, hey, I'ma go drain the mana and health and life from the general public in a village, Megazord. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Say I'm insane if you want. But I think what it is unless there's the potential for casualties and bystanders, the Zord doesn't get summoned. You might want to argue, no, you're overthinking it. It's just it was the manly men thing. They had to settle it by fisticuffs. It wasn't until he ran away that he had no choice but to summon his big boy. Maybe, but I think it's a secret parody of the fact that whenever you watch like Super Sentai, Power Ranger, wherever you watching it, whatever you're watching it, they never really explain how no one ever dies when the giant robots and monsters are fighting each other. Because I think secretly deep down we all know there's plenty of casualties, but we saved the day, so it's a-okay. And they also probably like the praise to be like, hey, look at how cool I look. I think Red's a psychopath. And I'm not going to be convinced otherwise. This man's a damn lunatic and we like him for it. Of course, want to support my work though, see my full thoughts. We got the Patreon, full link at live reactions, available exclusively over there if you're so interested. So, actually a shorter episode than normal, by 5 or 6 minutes. They did the whole Kizuna of 5 segment after the credits, so basically they cut off the episode very early, probably because they want episode 11 to be one continuous fight. They didn't want to cut the fight in between, something like that. Makes sense. I was interested to see if I had a different opinion than the masses, and it seems like a lot of people like that segment. So, apparently I'm the odd one out here, because I thought it was boring as hell. At the end of the day, you can remove it and nothing really changes about your opinion. Like, sure, it's like, oh, hey, it's interesting. We get to see the origin story of how they all became the Kizuna of 5. We get to learn a bit more about them. But it really doesn't do much for me, if I'm going to be honest. People like it, they like it. I'm not saying like, oh, if you like it, you're dumb. It's just, I thought it was boring as hell. And I was like, you're just kind of breaking the flow for me. I was really getting going. I would have been more okay with a cliffhanger in the middle of the fight. But, we got to see more of them. It's not the first time they've done this segment, and every time seemingly this segment pops up, people like it. I've also seen people say they wish they could have a full story of just focusing on their time. Not me. I much prefer the fancy element we got going on here, but hey, opinions, it differs. But yeah, it didn't do much for me, if I'm being honest. It felt more like a way to not show the fight so that the full fight could be next week, and also it's just, very generically Power Rangers-ish, and that stuff really isn't for me, so obviously that segment's not going to be for me, but if I didn't talk about it, people would be like, what did you think about that segment? And to be honest, not a whole lot, if we're being honest. But the rest of the episode I thought was great. I also really appreciate how the villain we're going up against, I didn't really think he was generically evil and went off the deep end because he was like, you know what, we need to kill them all. It's very clear the corruption was influencing probably some sort of pure and just motives, but then just obviously went to the extreme. The idea that this man, obviously human, and then our girl was with the elves, discrimination, racism, all the there was obviously a wedge between the two people, and the two groups of people, I should say. The idea that this man could watch his dad get skewered by a that man it was a good throw, you gotta admit. And he still didn't back down. He's like, you know what, I'm still gonna visit with the elves, we're gonna try to reach a peaceful outcome. At the end of the day, just the people, they didn't want it. And, if had he not been corrupted, he probably would have also got assassinated not too far off in the future. And the idea that, this butler pops up, offers him power, he's like, yep, you're absolutely right. It's a really effective backstory because it gives him an out. Once we defeat him, if he still lives, there's absolutely no reason for us to be like, his head should be on a stake. Look at all the evil he did. All the evil he did was not because he wanted to do it. It was clearly against his will. And what we know about his character, the fact that, you know, he would have loved to marry this girl and, you know, for them to rule together, bridge, you know, be the bridge to both sides. And hopefully that can still happen. Will it? I don't know. I won't be surprised if he dies. To the same degree, I won't be surprised if he lives. It's kind of a coin toss at this point. I think no matter if he lives or dies, though, this girl's not coming with us. It is nice that we're going to at least see the full Megazord, like, fully functioned and, you know, operated, of course. But I feel like she'll have to stay behind no matter what. Or, if he lives, and they decide that they are going to do the whole marriage thing and bridge the peace, maybe she gets to travel with us while he takes care of the paperwork. I don't know if that would work, but we'll see. Either way, though, this show has been fun. It's been a constant laugh. It's been a twist on what you expect the show to be. And I think, for me, one of the biggest enjoyments that I get out of it is just, like, remembering questions, like, even when I was younger and I'd watch this stuff, you know, it'd always be like, we're crushing buildings. We're causing a ruckus. Collateral damage out the ass. But we're supposed to assume no one's dead from this? Seems a little suspect if you catch my drift. And I think that's where a lot of the fun comes from, because I look at this character, who I don't look at as like he wants to kill people. It's just more of like he's so, I don't care about details. I just want to look cool. Look at my cool big gun or my cool big sword. Look at my giant robot. Is there an audience? But then he doesn't take into consideration of the collateral damage he might cause. And that's really funny. Of course, they've been, over the course of the show, not really recently, but over the course of these episodes, they have teased, obviously, there's some darker, more sinister stuff going on with his own backstory. So, of course, there will be a moment, probably in a season 2 or a season 3, timeline-wise for this story, where shit will eventually hit the fan. But in the meantime, it's like a cautious hero, man. It's just, it's a fun twist and almost near parody of both Isekai meets Power Rangers crammed into one. And I've had an absolute blast. But if you try to convince me that there's a good reason for him not at least summoning parts of the Zord before the chase scene, I'm going to assume you are the PR team for Red and you're trying to justify his psychotic behavior. Because there's no reason the one time we're in the middle of bumfuck nowhere and he doesn't summon it until he's going to a... No. That don't make sense, damn it. You'll let me know your thoughts on down below. What did you think of the episode? Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. So today we got Nadia Coles, Knowing Waffles, Jama Boo, Anne, Tade Goldweight, One Piece Man, Nicholas Wilhelm, Francis Mondra, Neko Chibi, Min Young, and we also have June 96. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.